everyone, and welcome to part 7 of my car tier list video series thing. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I thought I'd go again for another one. Now, the way this works is basically the cars in this video were taken from the comments in the last video and so on and so forth, and for the next video, if you want to suggest some cars, just put them in the comments and I'll rank them, unless of course they're already here. Now, I don't know, let's just get started. Our first car is the McLaren Artura. Now, I don't know, I know it sounds a bit weird, but I'm getting a bit sick of all the new supercar and hypercar releases. I'm just getting a bit bored of them. They don't excite me as much as like older cars. For example, this McLaren Artura, it never really excited me as much as the 12C or the 650 or the like. But I mean, it's still a very good car. But it just doesn't excite me, and that's sort of a problem for a supercar. I'm going to put it in high cool, probably. I'm going to put it there because I know that seems low, and it actually probably is low. Let me see. I'm going to put it below the SF90. That was a bit low where I put it. I'm going to move the Camaro and the Charger up a bit, though, because I really do like old classic muscle cars. But yes, I think that's fine for now. Next car, Dacia Jogger. Firstly, stupid name, Jogger. And it's just boring. I get it's very practical and very useful, but it's just boring. It's a van with windows, basically. If you own this car, I'm sorry, and I'm probably angering you, but it's the way I feel, and this is just average. It's just average. I mean, I certainly prefer it more than an SUV, because I'm getting a bit sick of SUVs. I think I've been a bit harsh on them, actually. I'm going to move them up a bit. Not you two, you can stay, but you two can go up a bit. So certainly this row, I've been a little bit harsh on that. And I'm going to move this peel down a bit. Both of these peels, actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think the rest of the list is fine for now. I'm going to move the Igo down, because it's boring and it's not really a great car to begin with, so yeah. Next car, Lamborghini Temerario. This is the same case for the Artura, but perhaps even more severe, because it's got rid of the V10 for a hybrid V8. The V8's a very good engine. I'm sure it'll be very fast and very good to drive, but again, it doesn't excite me as much as the screaming V10 of the Huracan, or most certainly the Gallardo, which is why I'm going to only leave it. I've put that Mustang a bit high. I'm going to put it below that Volvo, and I've put the Mustang a bit high. I'm going to put the Mustang just below the Mark IV Toyota Supra, because I'm liking that a bit more now. Not enough to move it up, but certainly more than the Mustang at the moment. This is sort of a thing, if you've not seen the past episode, I just move cars about because my opinions are constantly changing. Not about the SLR or the Zondas or the like. Let's see. Ford Puma. The comment didn't specify which Ford Puma, so I've gone with the actual proper Ford Puma. So yes, not the horrible new SUV, but the lovely, good-looking, fun to drive, affordable little coupe, and I like that. I like it a lot. I just love cars like this, like affordable, fun to. No, they don't even actually quick. The normal Puma is not a quick car. It's basically based off a Fiesta, but it's just good fun. And it looks great, and I like that. It's sort of in the same boat as the Frog Eye Sprite, but so I'm going to put it just below that, actually. I think that's a fair comparison. The Racing Puma would be a lot higher, but the comment just specified Puma, so I've just gone with the normal, the original Ford Puma. Next car, Gumper Apollo. Didn't specify which one, so I've just gone with the Apollo Basic, which it's basic, but it'll still do over 220 miles an hour and would still beat most cars around a track, especially from its time. I mean, it certainly stands less of a chance against things like a 918. Well, actually, it'd get demolished by a 918 or a Valkyrie or a T50 or an Aventador SV. That's an Aventador Ultima, but my point still stands. I know the Gumper is, to a lot of people, hideous. I'm not going to say it's good looking, because it's not, but I like it. It's from this sort of crop of 2010 supercars that I love. I certainly prefer the other versions of it, like the Apollo S and the Apollo Enraged and the Apollo N, which isn't technically a Gunpei. It's like when Apollo did their rebrand to Apollo and when they made the Apollo Intensia Emozione. But my point still stands. In fact, I see it in the sort of the same boat as the Senna. Not good looking cars, but they're really quite great and I love them. Although I like the Gunpei more than the Senna. I'm going to put it actually above the LaFerrari and one below the Marussia B2. Because I like that car a lot more than most people. Most people probably haven't even heard of it, but I like rare, obscure cars like this. Especially, only if they run properly though. If they're like a mock-up on a computer screen, then I'm not as interested. Like the Resvani, I'm not sure if this Resvani Beast X or whatever it is runs, so I mean, I'd certainly like it more if it was running like an actual car. But yes, our next machine is the Leyland P76. This was made by Leyland, which was British Leyland's Australian like sub-brand, even though it's Leyland and British Leyland. Leyland, I think, mostly made lorries, but yes, it was going to be a good car. It was supposed to be like a big full-size thing to compete with the Fords and Holdens and things, but as with British Leyland, there was reliability problems and strikes and recessions, and the Australian government wasn't really helping things either. So yeah, if it was just like that, then I'd be probably putting it down here somewhere. It does have something somewhat interesting about it though. Its boot was big enough to fit a whole oil drum. Now, certainly not enough of a thing for me to put it up with a Miura Concept or something, but it does keep it out of average and put it in mildly interesting. Trans them up a bit. Very only mildly interesting, but still interesting enough. I'll put the DeLorean there because it's a bit of a missed opportunity, even though it's probably more interesting than that. I says interesting, but it's like a whole tier list thing. I'm interested in a lot of these cars down here. Like, the PLP50 is interesting, but it's a bad car, at best. At worst, it's technically worse than a Ford car, but the Ford car is a Ford car, so it's going in Burnett, way below the P50. Now this, Subaru Forester STI. As you can tell, I've been quite thorough in my disdain for SUVs and my general harshness about it. I guess I'm just bored of them. The Forester STI is this one strange exception. I like it more than most Imprezas. I like it more than every other SUV. I like it more than most cars. This is going to be in the same case as the RX-8, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, in the same way I probably would for the RX-8. But I am putting the Subaru Forester STI in Dream Car. Not as high as the RX-8. I can hear the comments typing away as I'm doing this. I'm going to put it below this Aston DBS. But it's staying there because I absolutely love the Forester. I don't know why. I hate every other SUV. Every performance SUV, every like road-going SUV. I prefer off-road SUVs, but it's still not my favourite. But the Forester, there's just something about it. No idea what. Maybe it's just like an Impreza estate SUV. Well, no, an Impreza estate would be a legacy. I can't explain it. It's completely off-brand for me, but I love the Forester. I love it. And I really, really want one. In the same way I really, really want an RX-8. But yes. Now that's out of the way. Ah yes. Alpine... I forgot what it's called. It's like Alpine A250 something. No, it's A250. It's like basically the Alpine, the hot version of the new electric Renault 5. It's electric, so it's just another electric car. Although it's an Alpine electric hot hatch, so it does interest me somewhat. Certainly more than like the Lucid. And I mean, it's okay looking. It's not awful. I'm going to put it like somewhat interesting. Because I am curious about what it can do. I'm going to move this MG up a bit. Just so it would be above that. And I put the screen in the wrong place. Of course I did. My point still stands. Like it's A250. I'm sure it's like A250. I'll put the right name up on screen. Or I probably have already put the right name up on screen for you to see. Now this. Hyundai Santa Fe Calligraphy Hybrid. Same boat as all these other modern SUVs. I'm just sick and tired of them. I'm bored of them. They're ugly. They're just copy paste. I mean, Hyundai is definitely a lot better than they were like 10, 20 years ago, but Santa Fe still does not interest me and never has interested me. And there's no versions of it that will ever interest me. Right, this car, Riley 4. From what I could, I did some looking up on this car, and it just seems like another normal British saloon car. I mean, I certainly have more of a fondness for classic cars, but I think it's fair to put it with the Nissan Bluebird and the Ford Corsair. Not Corsair, is it a Ford Corsair? I forgot. I think it's a Ford Corsair. Again, I will put the correct name up on screen, because even with my, well, self-proclaimed limitless car knowledge, that means it's limited car knowledge. Wrong word, but you get what I mean. I'm like a car encyclopedia. This, the Anastasia and Antipasti. Antipasti. Again, right name up on screen because I've forgotten what it's called. Because it's very obscure. It was the first car to be produced and designed and built in Argentina. And they made about 50 of them. They were all used as taxis. I think only one or two, maybe even 3 survive now. And I mean, I'm going to put it in the same boat as the Model T Ford because I'm not a fan of these old pre-World War One. No, actually, no, it was made in 1915 or 16. So yeah, but yeah, I'm not really a fan of these like vintage cars all that much. There are some exceptions like the Alfa Romeo Bimotore. I mean, is that really vintage? Like 1939? Is that really vintage? Mind you, I keep thinking I'm older. I keep thinking like, let's say the Disco 2 here. I keep thinking this is a 10-year-old car. It's not. It's like 20 years old. So, again, I'm very old and like this. I keep forgetting this exists. It's brand new. I'm just an old fart. Right, this Borgward P something. I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting these names. You know, I'll rank this Land Rover Defender while it comes back to me. This is Defender 130. It didn't specify whether the new one or the old one, so I've just gone with the new one just to add some variety. Well, I say variety to my list. I must say it looks better in white before I say anything, but I don't like it. I still don't like the new Defender. I don't like new SUVs. It's certainly not as egregious as some of these other ones, but it's not what a proper Land Rover is. So I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put it here above the P50 because it's certainly not as bad as this lot. But it certainly could be better. It could be the original Defender, which I'm not as big of a fan of it as like a Ford Focus RS, but certainly better, and certainly does what an SUV should be designed to do. To be fair, I've probably underrated it a bit because I've put the Bronco up here. So, I either move the Bronco down or move this up a bit. I'm going to move this up a bit into like, I'm going to put it below these because I don't know, I like the Bronco more for whatever reason. Probably because I don't see as many because they're American and they're not coming. I mean, you can get some Broncos in the UK via import, but with all the taxes and stuff, they're hideously expensive and most people just buy Defenders instead. So, yeah, you don't really see very many of these. I've not actually seen one in the flesh at all, so yes, I'm sure they're a lot more common in the US. Because I think they do a Bronco Sport as well, which has no off-road capabilities whatsoever. So, yes. Next car. Borgward Isabella. It's called the Isabella. I remembered what it's called, everyone. It's like it's like the same sort of these, except this time it's German. So I think it's fair to put it about here. I'm going to put it below because I think it's a bit uglier than the Bluebird. But yes, it's certainly not a bad car. It's just average for the time. It's like in the same way as Ford Mondeo. They're not making the Mondeo anymore, though, are they? What do they make now? BMW 3 Series. It's like, I'd say it would be a BMW 3 Series of now, or maybe on the lower end, a Mazda 3 Saloon or something. But yes, right. Nissan Juke. The comment that specified this, they were specifically aiming to me to have a bit of a rant about the Juke, and I will. If you suggest me a normal Juke, then yes, I'll put it in and I'll have a little rant about it. But this is the Nissan Juke R 2.0, and it's well, technically there's a Juke R 1.0, but I've just gone with the 2.0. This is the cool Nissan Juke. Now, basically, what it is, it's got the Duke's still hideous body, and it's put it over the gearbox and chassis and, well, not the exact chassis, but like the platform, the four-wheel drive system, and the engine of an R35 Nissan GTR, which makes it fantastically fast. But because the Duke's a lot shorter than a GTR, it's an absolute death trap. But it's a fun death trap. It's not like an Iron Maiden. It's like, well, it's not really any other sort of fun death trap. It's like that Alfa Romeo Bimotore I was mentioning earlier, because that was like built in '39 and it had two V8 engines in, one at the front and one at the back. That was a death trap. Again, I'm not even sure that's considered fun. I think that is just a death trap because it's a vintage car on cross-ply tyres. But yes, this is fun death trap. I love it. Again, I said I hate SUVs, but I wouldn't call it. This is just an uglier GTR, but it has that fun factor about it which pushes it past its ugly. It's certainly not above a GTR. I've not got a GTR on this tier list, but I think that makes it very cool indeed. And I like you, and it's unique. I'm going to put it below this Ford Focus RS. I'm going to put this Charger above this classic. Not classic. No, this is the classic Camaro above the ZL1. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Feel free to fight over in the comments over my car placements. Gets me more comments and boosts me up in the algorithm. And I like a good argument about cars. Now, next car, Volvo EX90. Boring electric SUV. I've got nothing to say about it. Volvo's just been on a downhill slope for a while now. Atrocious. Slightly better than this Renault because it's a Volvo and still better quality. But I'm just not interested in it. It just bores me out of my skin. Next car, Ford Ranger Wildtrak. Just the comments just said Ford Ranger, and that's a massive spectrum. So I've just gone with the one that I'm familiar with, and you've seen a lot in the UK. It's the Wildtrak. This is, I mean, I'm not usually a fan of pickup trucks, but I certainly prefer ones that can be used as proper work trucks and things, not like these GMC 12,000 HD turbo diesel ultra like max cab things with dualies in the US. I think they're stupid. And I mean, this is on the bigger end of a pickup truck you get in the UK, but I mean, it's certainly better. I'm honestly going to put it above the Defender because this is used as you'll see this doing pickup truck things. You won't see very many Defenders doing Defender things. Well, the new ones anyway. The classic one was a farmer's love, even more so than his tractor. And then they put the prices up on all the classic Defenders. Now they're now expecting to pay 70 grand for a good one. And Land Rover is still selling classic Defenders for like 200 grand because they have special heritage paints and things. Because, yay! Overcharging for the most stupid of things. Toyota GR86. Now, this proves a car doesn't have to be fun to be powerful. No. It doesn't have to be powerful to be fun. And this is a testament to that. I certainly prefer the GT86 because Toyota's been on a bit of a downhill spiral as well. Just look up Toyota GR Corolla. No, I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to tell you. Toyota GR Corollas, they go over 80 miles an hour at some point. They have a engine fire caused by the car at a different point, months in advance, and then Toyota voids the warranty because at some point you went in your track-ready hot hatchback, at some point you went over 80 miles an hour, which is just... That's the sort of face I pull when I'm reading those stories. I mean, I think it's because Akito Toyota left, and then the company's become a bit more corporate. Alas, it is what it is. I still like the car though, and I'm gonna put it one step below the A80 Supra because I do have a thing for 90s cars. I'm gonna put the Supra up a bit. I'm not gonna put it up too much for fear of overrating it, like it usually gets. But I'm gonna put it up above the Lagonda. I'm scared to put this up because I don't want to overrate it too much, but then again, I think this is a fair placement for it, and it's where I think it should go. Oh, I've missed a car. Hang on, I'll get to that after the 12 cylindry because I am going to have a big old rant. Ferrari 12 cylinder. This is actually one of the few modern supercars that does excite me. Naturally aspirated V12, proper big Ferrari GT car, supercar, super GT thing. And it's just brilliant. It's like the new Vanquish. I don't like the black stripe on the front of things of like this and the F80 and like I don't like that design decision for Ferraris. But other than that, it's near perfect. Well, as near perfect as you can expect. Where's the Vanquish? Vanquish. There you are. I'm going to put it just below that. In fact, up you two go above the 750. Right, now to get our next car. So, can you guess what it is? If you've commented it, you've probably guessed it, and you've probably been waiting for it. It is the worst car of all time, the Tesla Cybertruck. I can say so many awful things about it. It's ugly. It's like the ugliest thing ever. What's the ugliest car ever? Like this Dacia MD87, this Reliant Robin, this Axle thing. Like all these, this Fiat Spiagina thing, this Kia Sorento, all these ugly cars, the Ford car, the Citroen Cactus, all of them combined would form some hideous, disgusting, fetid blob. It'd still make a Cybertruck look hideous. I should have said the Cybertruck would have made the blob look like a fashion model or something, but I didn't think that far ahead. It's ugly. It's electric. I've gone on about electric cars. I prefer ICE cars. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, so to speak. I mean, I'm beating a bit of a dead horse ragging on the Cybertruck, but it deserves it. It's poorly built. Every single thing I see, like it won't tow things. It won't do proper truck things. When people test its durability, they don't test it properly. I saw one, it was like smashing through a fence. It wasn't even a proper fence, it was a plastic fence, and it just bricked. It's just bricked it. I mean, Elon Musk's a bit of a shady character to begin with, but it's just... I hate this thing so much. I cannot explain. Put all of these cars combined, I would still take any of these cars, even ones that I detest, like the X30, all these Soviet cars, this Piaggio thing, the Citroen Cactus. I hate the Cybertruck. I hate it. It's just childish. And I mean, another thing, it's so bloody unsafe. Like, you know, I was complaining about all these massive pickup trucks. Well, one of the things is it's unsafe. If you're hit by one, you're dead. Isn't it? Why I don't like this Santa Fe either, because it's got this little problem. But not only is it high up, it's got a front thing, but it's just, look at all those angles and things. Like, if you're hit by that, you're not only going to be struck by a car, which has to begin with, you're going to be impaled by a car, which you'd think only happens on something like Mad Max. Speaking of angles and things, most cars, if they bonnet close, or they have an automatic bonnet thing, it closes on you. It doesn't hurt too much, or it has a thing to stop itself. On this, right, it hurts loads because it's fairly thin strip of aluminium, so it's like being crushed between two thin strips of aluminium. And not only does the thing to stop from crushing your finger not work, when it does work, what it does is it detects an obstruction. What most other cars will do is either lift the bonnet up or stop it closing. What it does is, to remove the obstruction, it starts applying more and more pressure until it breaks, which is fine if you've, let's say, got a carrot stuck in there. It'll just slice a carrot. If you get your finger stuck in there for whatever reason, I mean, yes, you could argue that an adult's not going to stick his finger in a bonnet of a car, but let's say a small child. What if a small child sticks his finger in there? Then you're going to cut off a child's finger with the bonnet of your car. This isn't a car. It looks like a computer mouse, a very uncomfortable computer mouse, or a video game car that's not rendered in properly. This thing is the worst car of all time. I said I wouldn't make any more tears. However, add a row below. Let's see. We got a grey thing. Have we got like a bright grey for it? There we go. No, I need a thing. There we go. I think that explains it all. My screen's a bit zoomed in, so you probably didn't see it properly. But yes, it's the Cybertruck. This, if anything, I should add as many other rows below it as I possibly can, and then the Cybertruck. But Nope, my rant's over. I've probably bored you for long enough with it. But yes, this is the tier list in its current state. If you've got any suggestions or want to politely discuss where cars are placed, or just have an argument, because I enjoy having arguments about cars, or just simply, again, want to add some cars to it. Or like maybe it's a car on this that you've never heard of, like the Marussia or where is it? The Dauer EB110. Because it's in a Bugatti EB110, it's a Dauer EB110 or the GTA Spano or something like that, or the Shelby Series 1. But yes, hopefully you have a great day or night or evening or whatever you're having wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.